Welcome to the Winged Wheel Podcast, the number one source for news, analysis, and discussion on the Detroit Red Wings, the NHL, and all things hockey. Here are your hosts, Ryan Hanna, Brad Crisco, and Evan Lopsinger.
All right, Evan, you were about to tell everyone what your New Year's resolutions are for 2026.
I have none.
Yeah, you just said it. Shovel less.
Yeah, well, apparently I'm going to be shoveling more.
Yeah.
The cost of everything's gone up, apparently.
What did the kid try to hustle you for at the door?
$40.
What'd you tell him? Kick rocks?
Yeah, pretty much. I was like, you have 5 seconds before the auto turret comes out, mow you down.
It's like the holiday season is over. It's January 1st, sucker. Well, since we started this conversation to now, the Red Wings have actually played 17 more games with the schedule so far.
Yeah, could you imagine your employer's like, you're going to work New Year's Eve? You're like, yeah, I guess I'll take it. I'll take one for the team this time. Like, you're also working New Year's Day.
Getting on a plane right after New Year's Eve, and then you go to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and you're going to work again. I know this is because of the Olympics this year, and I know I'm like protecting that and saying the international best on best hockey can do no wrong. But I can't believe we're going to 84 games with how insane this schedule already feels. 84 games and then an Olympic year the next time that happens, we're going to have no days off. We're going to have to do the podcast 7 times a week.
You know, there's probably teams in the NHL where you could convince them to be like, hey, New Year's Day, we're all a little rough right now. Let's just get this game to overtime, and then, whoever wins, wins. But when you have to play a sicko like Sidney Crosby, who probably went to bed at 10 o'clock and just is...
Oh, late night.
Yeah, late night. Hydrated and watched film last night. Like, there's not a chance the Red Wings are getting an easy game.
What did Ken Daniels said on the broadcast yesterday? This is the first time the team has had to travel on New Year's Eve since 1968.
Pretty cool.
I know we asked for this with the Olympics and international best on best, but shrink the game, not the fandom, but the amount of games.
Agreed.
Please. Happy New Year's, folks. We are not going to title this episode New Year, Same Team, or New Year, New Team, because I think we have about 8 or 9 of those.
No, they're all New Year, same team. We haven't used the new team one yet.
But this one we could.
We could. It's a brave new world. 41 games. That's very nice, very clean. First 41 games in 2025, next 41 games in 2026. Easy analysis, so we get to do a mid-season check-in here. Welcome to another year of the Winged Wheel Podcast, here to talk to you about all things Detroit Red Wings hockey, the world of the NHL, and lots more. A little bit beleaguered from New Year's Eve celebrations, but still here with you. I'm one of your hosts, Ryan Hanna. I'm Brad Crisco.
And I'm Evan.
On this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast, we are going to be talking about the 2 Red Wings games that have happened since we last spoke. Both of them wins against the Leafs and then the Jets last night on New Year's Eve. And then we are going to be talking about standings updates, takeaways from those games, storylines. We're going to be getting into a mid-season review of the Red Wings, and then check-ins on the Olympic roster updates with some teams officially named and some teams unofficially named, World Juniors, and whatever else we get into before overtime. Very quickly, before that, 2 things. Winged Wheel Podcast Night with the Grand Rapids Griffins, Saturday, January 17th. Tickets are going fast. The last batch is out there. Your ticket gets you access not just to the Griffins game against Milwaukee, it also gets you access to the pregame live recording of the Winged Wheel Podcast featuring Dan Watson and other special guests, including Griffins players. You also get a limited edition Winged Wheel Podcast Grand Rapids Griffins co-branded puck that is signed by a random mystery Griffins player. So each puck is signed by a different Griffin. Well, I mean, they sign multiple, but it's a random one as to which one you'll get. And then once those are gone, they're gone. We won't have any more to give away. griffinshockey.com/WWP to get your tickets. It's coming fast. And then patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast if you want to support the show and help us do what we do. You get benefits like our bonus overtime episodes, our Patreon exclusive Discord, and you're automatically entered into all of our giveaways. For example, we give away 2 tickets to every Detroit Red Wings home game. Again, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. So the Red Wings and the Leafs, let's start there and then we'll do the December wrap up at the end. The Red Wings and the Leafs played the same day we dropped last episode, which, I mean, we're recording today and the Red Wings play tonight against Pittsburgh. We don't love to do it, but it's just the holiday schedule. And a 3-2 overtime win where the first, second, and third star all felt like Simon Edvinsson and his heroics. And if his shot blocking didn't do it, if his overtime winner didn't do it, his post-game interview with Daniello where he dropped a Herb Brooks quote, that had to do it. The miracle line right after that game, that's incredible.
That's a hockey player's hockey player. He knew what he was doing too, dropping that line. It's a heck of a long way from your heart.
Yeah, that's what a guy. That's just an all-time dude. He was like, oh yeah, the trainers gave me something magical. I'm like, oh, okay, Simon.
Especially for him. His foot to his heart is like 7 feet.
Yeah, he was just speaking in literal terms.
Yes.
Yeah, he blocked the shot, but he didn't actually feel the pain till the end of the shift.
It's like my nerve endings work as fast as they can, but Ram's expensive right now. He couldn't get the data transfer fast.
Took 2 to 4 days just to arrive at his receptors in his brain.
Whatever's left of him at this point. But huge win and another continuation where the Red Wings were playing a Leafs team that looked like maybe they were finding their way a little bit, but obviously the Red Wings had a really hot December. They would have had every excuse to not lose, like it would have been excusable, but coming off a back-to-back with travel from Carolina where they got trounced by the Hurricanes, but Detroit didn't fall into the trap of losing to what is a lesser team this year in the Leafs. So overall takeaways from that game.
I think it was a good game. I don't think the Red Wings dominated. I would say by and large, if you just looked at the balance of the game, the Red Wings were the better team and earned the win. Typical Red Wings game where even though they're playing well, there's still a couple brain farts that cost them. But again, this team just has that sense of resilience about them. For how many years over the course of this podcast, if the Red Wings game goes to overtime, your first thought is, well, at least we got a point. You actually feel like they're going to probably win that game now, which is a completely different feeling. Now, it took an Auston Matthews crossbar for them to actually get that win, but that was a shot from distance. You're probably happy to give that up in overtime, even if it is to Auston Matthews. And then, yeah, Simon Edvinsson. And again, Larkin, DeBrincat, Seider, Raymond get all the shine as the, core four, the stars of this team. And that's probably a disservice to Simon Edvinsson. He is a lot closer to that group than he is the rest of the team.
Yeah. He still has like his moments this season where it's like you are still an all-tools defenseman who can do everything at some point, but, getting rid of the avoidable penalties or the brain farts or the errors that are all very common with young defensemen. I think there's been a disproportionate amplification about how bad those things are as opposed to how expected they are as to where he is in his career, just because of the whole Hughes potential trade discourse and everything like that. But in terms of where he is in his career and how many games he's actually played, it's tracking as you'd expect right now for a very good high-end defenseman. So you can see past it. You're still frustrated when he takes a dumb penalty.
I'm not, though. Like, that's the thing. I see that as a big talking point, as like one of the very, very few negatives with Edvinsson. So I'm not saying people hate the guy because he takes too many penalties. I can't speak for the whole fan base, but us three sitting here, we cannot complain about Simon Edvinsson's penalty. We have been begging for years for somebody on this team to be a prick, to just be an a-hole. And every once in a while, they're going to take a dumb penalty because they're angry or they're trying to make a point or whatever. And you have to eat it when it happens. Edvinsson is that dude right now on this team where he will just get mad and cross-check a guy or hit a guy or whatever. Great. Fantastic. I love it. Him and Seider have this rare combination of being an elite top pair defenseman. Both of them can play, can really play, but both of them are pricks. Like they are a nightmare to play against in every sense of the word, and I love it. And if you got to soak a few extra penalty kills because of it, deal.
As long as, there's continued progress into like finding that line. You look at early days like Marchand, Wilson, those guys, and not that Edvinsson is them, they're very different. But those guys never know where the line is right off the hop. You have to figure out how the game is called and the flow of the NHL. And you do.
And you named two forwards, right? Like he plays defense. Like the amount of hooking, slashing, holding penalties you're going to take is a lot more likely than for those guys. So for a guy who's playing 20 plus 22 minutes a game to have as many penalties as he does, it's kind of comes with the territory. Like Sherratt's the same way. I think he's probably second or third in the team in penalty minutes as well. Like that's going to happen when guys are playing that much and they're playing defense and you're expecting them to play a certain way. they're going to take penalties. But as long as they're productive and a value add at both ends of the ice, which Simon Edvinsson obviously is, you take it every single day.
So Toronto was up 1-0. They were on the power play. Simon Edvinsson, the first part of his heroics is he, blocked a shot, stayed in the mix despite being down and out, blocked another shot with his stick, I think it was, and just factored into the play. He had to leave the game for a period there. They gave him some of the good stuff in the dressing room. He came back and he won that game in overtime, just capitalized on a play that went the other way and, danced around Hellebuyck and won it in an electric fashion. Like, incredible goal call from Ken Daniels as always. Incredible atmosphere in the LCA. Everyone's pumped up because they beat the Leafs. Seider actually got the tying goal, I should add, the first time from the point from Lucas Raymond, just a smart point shot. And then Mason Appleton tied it again after Toronto went up 2-1. You always say, Brad, about Nick Robertson, like all his goals are against the Red Wings in his career.
I don't have any stats to back it up, but I'm just going to say 92% of his career goals, including preseason, are against the Red Wings.
So Appleton scores from, it was Rasmussen and Johansson. The game goes to overtime, and then that's when Edvinsson won it. So massive win. I thought a big win for Cam Talbot too, who got in the mix as well. That little scrap in front. He was throwing hands with Bobby McMahon.
Love it.
Everyone got in the mix in that one. Someone's nose was pushed into the ice, one of the Leafs players. Like, that was a fun watch. At first, from distance, you're like, oh my God, did he just throw a blocker right to his face? But then you realize he was throwing his hand on top of the helmet to like just pull on it or something.
No, the Leaf fans, that's the same thing as a punch.
Oh, they were saying
that discourse was insufferable. Every once in a while, I start to feel bad for Leaf fans or sympathize with them. And every time that thought creeps in my head, something like this happens, and I immediately go, right. That's why we don't do that.
I've only ever felt bad for one Leaf fan in my life, and that's Steve.
Steve is the one. It was his show. They put out the Red Sabres thing, which he wasn't wrong this year, apparently.
Yeah.
The Sabres won 10 in a row. So
he was right, just not in the way he thought he'd be right.
And he's eaten it. He said, I was wrong about the Red Wings.
Yeah. When it was in the playoffs last year, and I was like, I wonder how Steve's doing. And I go on his live stream, and I literally see him coming out from underneath his table. I was like, my mood changed a little bit for him. I actually had some sympathy for him, but that's where the list ends.
Well, when they made a coaching change and Derek Lalonde stayed on, I DM'd Adam and I was like, Merry Christmas. And he was like, I saw that message preview and I was like, what a classy guy, Ryan, just saying Merry Christmas. And then I opened it up and I saw that you were sending the tweet about the coaching change.
Was that a you should have shot A-Rod moment or?
No, but I know Leafs fans are very, like, I'm not saying they should have. I'm not entrenched into what assistant coach is the problem. I don't really know if it's the assistant coaches, but I know they don't love Lalonde in Leafs land.
Yeah, the Leaf fans are just wound tight right now. They're ready to just blow it up.
It's like 2 games of high-end power play, and they're like, Derek Lalonde gets the Jack Adams as an assistant coach this year. I'm like, all right, guys. Anyways, the Red Wings beat them, and they head into New Year's Eve against the Winnipeg Jets. Last game of the year, and wasn't the most thrilling of games, but a 2-1 win. They started the game a bit earlier, obviously New Year's Eve. The Red Wings hang on. They didn't get to celebrate because they had to get right on a plane, I'm assuming, and then we got to celebrate. So a 2-1 win. Dylan Larkin opened scoring on the power play from Seider and Raymond. Nice shot that gets through, and then Mason Appleton on a broken play that had help from 2 different Jets jerseys that went into the net from Comfer and Rasmussen. Appleton gets the game winner against his former team because Logan Stanley scored in the third to make it 2-1. Gibson kept Detroit in it. You said, Brad, that he probably stole that game for the Red Wings with how much heat the Jets had on Detroit at the end of the game, but they hung on, and that made it their best December in 18 years, that game.
And we were all ready for the December collapse. Now I'm concerned for January.
That's every Red Wings fan right now, is like, no matter what you post, like how well things are going, they're like, I won't trust things until January. I won't trust things till February. I won't trust things till March. I think if they don't see them lifting the cup, some people will still have PTSD.
That's how you know we have essentially generational trauma.
Yeah.
It's like, we'll believe it when we see it, and when we see it, we don't know what that will be.
No, I know exactly when I'll feel comfortable with the Red Wings season. It's when I see that X, that means clinched, next to their name on the playoffs. And if that doesn't come till game 82, so be it. They could have a 12-point cushion with 6 games left.
That's oddly specific.
I'm just trying to do the exact amount of math here that points you can get in 6 games. I will not be comfortable.
The other takeaways from the Jets game, though, like I really don't fault the team at this point for having like, a bad period here and there. It's been a roller coaster of a schedule of late.
That game, by and large, looked like 2 periods of hockey where both teams had their eye on midnight. They were ready to celebrate New Year's. And then the third period, the Jets kind of snapped to and went, oh, there's a hockey game before that. Because, yeah, the Red Wings were the better team the first 2 periods, but it wasn't because the Red Wings were dominant. It was because they were less bad than the Jets through the first 2 periods. It was a very, very uneventful start to the game, which for a game like this and against a struggling team like the Jets who have been free-falling, it's not the worst thing in the world. With the way the Jets have been going, this was a game I was a little hopeful where the Red Wings might have just drop-kicked them earlier and this game could have felt over halfway through.
Dead last in the league right now, the Winnipeg Jets.
Yeah, and I think they've lost like 10 of 11 or something like that. They were saying on the broadcast last night. It's not the performance you'd want against a team in that situation, but again, good enough to have a 2-0 lead going in the third and then just... Sometimes old habits die hard. I can't remember a single sustained offensive zone pressure for the Red Wings in the third period.
They had 3 shots in the third.
Yeah, like it was just a shell.
But the Jets only had 8. It's not like they killed them either.
All in all, I don't think it was a great game for either team, but I think Hellebuyck made some 10-bell saves that made it feel a lot closer than it was. Like Patrick Kane had that one like stop up backhand thread the needle to Kopp, who basically had a breakaway below the dots, and he made a miracle save. There were opportunities for the Red Wings to put the game away, and Hellebuyck kind of kept them in, even though I don't think he's been great since coming back from injury. I don't know. I give this game a pass. They got the points. It's New Year's Eve. I kind of just move along.
Yeah, there's some games you have to be better than a great team to win. Some games you just have to be less bad than a bad team to win.
Exactly.
This was, they were just less bad than the bad team.
And in the dead center of the season, like, it doesn't even matter how good the other team is. Do they have maybe the best goalie on the planet right now and is he having a great night? Then that still is a tough game to win. So you still have to win him. Your goalie is a member of the team. He still wears the winged wheel. We have this, detachment of how does a goaltender perform compared to how do the skaters perform in front of him. John Gibson stepped up and won a game that he wouldn't have won for them in November. And that, to me, that still counts. Like, it's still, you obviously have things you want to improve on, but it was nice that the Red Wings were able to get that win again on a holiday when they had just been through a grind of a schedule. They have a grind of a schedule coming up. So again, 11-3-1 now to close out December. And that is their best since in 2007, they went 12-2-1. So 11-3-1, 23 points, a .767 points percentage. Their best December in 18 years. And we joke a lot about the December collapse, the March collapse, but like the December collapse is real, and not just because, in previous years they've done terribly, but also if you collapse in December, often that decides what you're doing for the rest of the season. Last year, it didn't quite matter because the Red Wings then ripped off 2 different 7-win streaks, which you're not going to do every year. You might not do for a decade or more at a time. And if you are out of it in December, then your GM is then starting to make moves towards the trade deadline. This year is earlier than in previous years. Like, it is creeping up here in terms of the amount of games played left until the trade deadline. You have to just stay afloat in December. And the Red Wings didn't just do that. They had a record December for nearly 2 decades now.
If the Red Wings were in the Western Conference, they would probably have clinched a playoff spot.
Yeah, that X might be there next to their name right now. The 8 worst teams in the league are all in the West right now. And that's the only frustrating thing about this. It's good for the long-term mentality of this team, like having to battle but you go 11-3-1 and they gained barely any ground.
They lost ground to the Sabres.
Yeah.
Well, they're a certified wagon.
The Sabres have lost 0 games of their last 10. They've won 10 straight.
They do that every year, though.
Hell of a time to do that this year. It's the new GM bump is such a funny thing. The guy's not even in the room with them every single
game. Yarmo just
game.
goes in there and just stares with his big muscles. Him and Mark Bergevin just in there like
just flexing.
Jacked and flexed. They're like, holy shit.
They're going to trade for JBD back just to get even more angles in that room.
We can't lose. They'll beat us up.
They hated Kevyn Adams so much. The guy wasn't even in the room. And the moment he was gone, they were grinning ear to ear. They're like, oh, thank God. They take the weights out of their ankles.
The only worst thing for the players would be if they brought in Torts.
Honestly, I want to see if they could win with him at this point.
That would be incredible.
So the Red Wings are 7-3-0 in their last 10. And in their division, that is third best. Because the Sabres are obviously 10-0-0 and the Lightning are 7-2-1.
The Lightning are scary.
The Lightning are, we were talking before, they're the best team in the East right now, right?
Oh, yeah. They've woken up. Obviously, you can't rule out Florida because they'll be pretty close to healthy going into the playoffs. But it's probably Florida or Tampa again. I know that's boring, but that's just the way it's shaping up and the way it looks.
Even let's say the Ottawa Senators, there's nobody below a 537 points percentage right now in the division.
Incredible.
That's not even 500. 537 is last place.
And the New York Rangers, who are having a terrible year, are second last in their division, have a 512 points percentage. There's no one in the East below a 500 points percentage. So it's great that the Red Wings are leading their division. Tampa has games in hand, but they're leading their division at the turn of the new year. And they are, I think, tied by points with Carolina still for the conference lead. Carolina also has 2 games in hand. That's incredible. It's remarkable. There's nothing to take away from the Red Wings. Think about how bad it would be right now if they did have a typical Red Wings December. But it's kind of hilarious that the year Detroit does this, every team in the East is also doing this.
They're one bad week away from being out of a playoff spot.
Still, yeah.
Forget a month, a week.
It sounds hyperbolic, but in previous years, if they did this in December, I think you're more comfortable about a playoff spot than we were in February, March, the one year where we thought they did it after Kane won in Chicago.
That was crazy because they were 8 points clear of 9th in the conference when we said that. That was good enough to put them in wild card 1. They're leading the division and have less of a buffer than they did then.
They're leading the division, and let's say the Senators win all their games in hand. So they win 3 games in hand. The Senators are in 8th right now in the Atlantic. If they win their games in hand, Detroit is 4 points ahead of them.
Jesus.
I mean, that's assuming the Senators are going to win their games in hand, which is kind of hard right now when they're not getting goaltending. But even the Senators, last in the division, their underlying numbers are great. Their players are actually playing reasonably well. They have the worst goaltending in the league right now.
All this points to that divisional games are more important than they've ever been. If you're not going to be able to separate playing Western Conference or Metro teams, you have to beat the teams in your division. That's the only way you're going to separate.
And before, I think I said on the show too, I'm like, okay, they lost against the Sabres multiple times, and that sucks, but at least the Sabres don't seem to be figuring it out this year. I mean, they're back in the mix now. I don't think they're going to win another 10 straight, but they are in the fold. They are as in the mix as they ever have been. And I mean, it's just going to take more sellers off the market too. Teams might get aggressive. I think Yarmo is going to be very motivated to be aggressive to add because, he wants to build on this momentum and reward the team and make a splash early. And with a tight season this year, it's okay, let's say the Red Wings are down 2-1 in a hockey game where they're getting shelled, but they're going to the third period only down 1 goal. We've seen them win those games this year, even if they were the worst team. It is like that right now, but across an entire 82-game season for teams last place in their division. Because if you're in the East, everyone's still in the mix, so why would you sell?
You just got to pick apart the Western Conference teams, find out who's the sellers there.
Which is 8 different teams right now.
Yes.
Even the Nashville Predators, who everyone's saying oh yeah, they're the team that's going to sell. They're the first team outside of the wild card spots in the West. The Calgary Flames have absolute I don't know what it is, some kind of syndrome. They have some kind of thing there where they think they don't have to sell or rebuild or just deny. But they're going to have to eventually, but they don't seem motivated to do it.
I think that's where we'll find out who the good GMs are versus the bad and which GMs have autonomy over decision making, because owners want to make the playoffs to make more money.
Yeah.
Whereas good GMs will already know if their team is actually good or actually bad. So it'll be interesting to see how the trade deadline shapes out in that perspective.
I think Jarmo came into the room in Buffalo and had like a plan of like, all right, here's what I'm going to do if this team doesn't turn it around immediately. And 10 games later, he goes, okay, I guess they turned it around immediately.
My job here is done.
You're welcome.
Jarmo, I just imagine, walked into the Sabres room. They're all sitting in their stalls. He's just got a notebook. He just looks at a guy, writes something down. Looks at another guy, writes something down, and then leaves.
It's like your driving test. You're like, you didn't know if you did something wrong. All of a sudden, they're just writing something like,
You can see him like he just has a chart. He just draws a line going upwards and downwards depending on what you're saying.
Yeah.
So upcoming before next episode, the Red Wings tonight have the Pittsburgh Penguins in Pittsburgh, and then on Saturday at noon Eastern, they have Pittsburgh at the LCA, so home and home, and we'll be back with you on Sunday, January 4th, and then settle into a little bit more of a normal routine where we're not recording on game days as much as possible. So other news about the Red Wings, they did send down John Leonard as they had to make tough roster decisions, and bummed though they may have been to do it. I know McLellan said it was a tough decision. I don't think that's the last we'll see of John Leonard. I think he acquitted himself so well for the Red Wings, and the moment injury dictates it, I think he'll be a very comfortable call-up. Like, play him in the top 6 if you need to, where you definitely have worse options, or in the bottom 6. Like, nice little find they've had in John Leonard, and you're just happy for the guy. He came up, he made an NHL paycheck for a little while there. It was under bad circumstances for the Red Wings while they were missing Patrick Kane, but still, really happy story out of Grand Rapids there.
Yeah, he didn't look out of place at all, and it's just a numbers game because is he definitively better than all the other wingers in the bottom 6 right now? Probably not, because most of them turned it on. We all would have said a couple weeks ago, oh, it's so easy to scratch Rasmussen or whoever to make room for him, but most of them have turned it on and been playing well. So, yeah, as much as you could easily justify Leonard staying here, if someone had to go, it's the guy who's spent most of the season there already.
And then, yeah, you take into account, waivers and whatnot, but still, he'll make his way back up. Imagine being a team in the AHL and thinking, man, Grand Rapids still keeps winning, and they were doing that for the past little while without their leading point getter, and now they have him back. So, I mean, I hope for John Leonard's sake that he's back with the big club soon, but if he's not, you get to watch him on January 17th at Winged Podcast Night at Van Andel. And not that we're happy the Griffins lost, but the Griffins did lose in extra time, and so there's no win streak to
burn
jinx
it down, blow it up. It's over.
It's all over. But there's nothing for us to jinx going there now. It's just Evan deleting hot dogs and us watching excellent Griffins hockey. All right. We're going to take a quick break to hear from the sponsors of the Winged Wheel Podcast, and when we're back, more on the Red Wings mid-season update. Back after this. All right, quick sidebar, because this is one of those things that people don't love talking about, but everyone does notice it eventually. Hair loss doesn't just show up all at once. It's gradual, it's subtle, it's like one of those games that's really slow until something actually happens. One day you're fine, the next you're making little adjustments and pretending you're not, and that ends up messing with your confidence. That's why Hims makes sense. Hims gives you access to licensed medical providers and personalized care for hair loss, all through simple online processes. No guessing, no bouncing between solutions, just a clear plan built around what actually works. Through Hims, you can get access to proven ingredients that can help stop further hair loss and even regrow hair in as little as 3 to 6 months if you're prescribed. It's structured, it's straightforward, just like a coach who comes in and puts in a solid game, and it fits into your routine, not the other way around. There are no hidden fees, no surprise costs, just personalized care that helps you get back to playing your game, steady, prepared, and not thinking about it every time you walk past a mirror. For simple online access to personalized and affordable care for hair loss, ED, weight loss, and more, visit hims.com/wingedwheel. That's hims.com/wingedwheel for your free online visit. hims.com/wingedwheel. Individual results may vary based on studies of topical and oral minoxidil and finasteride. Featured products include compounded drug products which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription required. See website for full details, restrictions, and important safety information. Welcome back. Mid-season review. I know we were just talking about where the Red Wings are in the standings and how good that is, but now that we're halfway through the season, real New Year's resolutions for the team, real analysis on individual players. Let's go position by position. You're right, Evan. Let's start with the forwards and then move back to the defense. All in all, I think let's take a look at how the Red Wings have been scoring and overall thoughts on the forwards play, where would you kind of peg them and what are you looking for the rest of the year?
If we're going like letter grades, I'd go a B. Just because if you look at any individual line or player, obviously a lot of great performances, a lot of great stretches. The only real gripe I have with the team, and it's almost unfair to expect, is they haven't all been rolling at the same time. Larkin's line was carrying for a bunch of the year, and last little bit they've been a little quieter, but Andrew Kopp has come out of nowhere and been a revelation on that second line, and the second line's been flying, and we've seen stretches from Rasmussen, and we've seen stretches from JVR, and we've seen stretches from the rookies. It's just gotta find that consistent base level where we're not talking about how far above expectation this line's playing or how far below expectation this line's playing, and just, I don't know how to phrase it, less swings. Maybe the ceiling won't be as high, but if the basement's a little higher as well, okay, well, then you can get a little more expectations of what this team is.
Yeah, it's hard not to have some recency bias here because I think about the 5-on-5 play from Larkin, Raymond, Finney, that line, and I'm like, I want more. It is papered over by the special teams play, and like it's not like they've been completely non-existent on the score sheet. It's just been at special teams or in overtime or something. And like, did that translate in December? Absolutely. They won all those games. Will that translate over the balance of a season? Very, very, very unlikely. We've seen how that goes. If you are a bad 5-on-5 team, that will catch up to you more often than not. But this is also a very good special teams team, at least on the power play. They're middling on the penalty kill. And it's been nice that the lack of 5-on-5 production hasn't meant a complete lack of production. So you don't hold that against them. Like the goal pace of 40 goals, like the Red Wings could have 2 40-goal scorers in DeBrincat and Larkin, which hasn't been done in decades for the Red Wings. And that's great. But you want to make sure that those warning signs don't turn into anything else, especially as you're heading into the Olympic break where Larkin and Raymond are both going to be going and playing. You don't want to go into that on a cold streak, and you don't know what you're going to be carrying in terms of injuries after that. So with the forwards, that's my biggest thing right now of like, for most of the season, they are your best guys, but it's been a while since they've done it in all situations. And at 5-on-5, you need to turn that back on. So I want to see that happen. I still wonder about, mixing up that line and getting other looks at least on the other wing there where Finney is. And we talked about maybe getting 2 birds with 1 stone with Marco Kasper. I know what you mean about like having everyone going at the same time would be nice. I just don't think that happens a lot in the NHL, but it would be good if, the better or best guys were doing it more often than not in sync there.
It's not that you're ever going to get them all going at the same time. It's just that the lows can't be so low. There's just stretches where every one of these guys is bad. And you can handle off nights. Like, I don't expect Dylan Larkin to put up 110 points and be the best player every single shift of every single game. And I don't expect Michael Rasmussen to be the best player every game, but
he's been making a case.
It's when you're not on your game, you can't be irrelevant.
Yeah.
And there should not be, again, it's a testament to how good Andrew Kopp is, but there should not be a 2-3 week stretch where Andrew Kopp's outperforming Dylan Larkin type of thing. You can have that for a few games. It's going to happen for periods. It's going to happen for shifts. That's fine. That's normal. Totally normal. It's just with this team, it always feels like it can't just be a one-off. It's prolonged. That's why I like using the term stretches. Dylan Larkin and his line can have an off game. They can't have an off week. They can't have an off 2 weeks. And again, to different levels, the same thing applies to every other line on this team. You can have off nights. You can have a bad 2-game stretch, but when it starts turning into 3, 4, 5, 6 games, that's still the only reason I don't give this forward group an A, is because that happens with every line far too often still.
I think 41 games through, the conversation has certainly, evolved as the season's gone along. Like, this team was relying heavily on 3-4 guys to get the job done every single night. and the bottom 6 forward group was just a complete black hole. Like, we're talking cardio game every single night. It was just a disaster. And it was like, who is going to come in and take that spot? Like, we saw Berggren get shipped out, and now we're seeing an improvement from Rasmussen. We're seeing a slight improvement from Soderblom. Mason Appleton's been a nice addition to the team. But now we're kind of seeing, like, instead of the top line having their glass full and the other glass empty, it's like now we're seeing a little bit more balance. So, when you talk individuals, it's like Marco Kasper having a terrible season. Red Wings have to try and get him going somehow. Danielson's probably been a little bit more quiet on the score sheet than I think what a lot of people would like, even though he's been mostly fine. So I think 41 games through, like, at this exact point, I think I'm right there with you guys, like a B plus type look. Like, we've got Larkin and DeBrincat, it could be 40 goal scorers. Raymond's leading the team in points. Like, I think the Red Wings are in a pretty solid spot compared to where I thought they were going to be at the start of the season before game 1.
And even not even like the start of the season, if I had the choice at the end of November to say, instead of everything falling on the Red Wings' 4 best players on offense, have them cool down a bit 5-on-5, but everyone else then chips in and the goalies start to make some saves and things evolve a little bit on defense, I would have taken that 10 times out of 10, because the best players, they're going to find their form again. They're the best players for a reason. I'm not saying they are completely immune to having really prolonged cold stretches. We saw what happened at the end of last season. But by and large, you can trust Larkin, Raymond, DeBrincat, those guys. Kane gets injured, he needs a couple games to shake off the rust, but then he gets up to speed again. Like, those guys are going to find their form again and produce. And so if you get the parts that we haven't seen go and churn out positive games and production consistently, if you get them going, which is the depth forwards that you guys named, like Rasmussen playing well, Kopp finding his old confidence, McLellan says this is as confident as he's ever seen him, the goaltenders making saves, like, that's the stuff that matters in February, March, April. So, you take this deal 10 times out of 10 and think of how different this discussion is at the 41 game point compared to previous years. Like, we're nitpicking, the Red Wings' best players are cooled down 5-on-5, but still by and large producing. You're just worried about something that might happen. Meanwhile, by this point, previous years, you're like, everyone has sucked and they're already in the gutter, and, we're like Buffalo, but in a bad way.
We've seen promising improvements from a lot of the guys that I think, 10, 15 games in, I was like, they can be shot to the sun. I don't care about them anymore. So as much as it feels like the top guys have kind of cooled off a little bit, it's good to see that the rest of the lineup is picking up the slack and there is hope for them after all.
Now, aside from the top guys getting back to producing 5-on-5, I think the biggest impact that could be made on this team in terms of someone turning it on, obviously, is Marco Kasper. You can point to JT Compher or other guys who you might have qualms with how they produce, but I think in terms of what they can do and what we've seen them do for this roster is Marco Kasper, if he has a good second half, doesn't have to be a world beater, just get back to his old form, that will just take this offense to another level. Now, Andrew Kopp, as Brad mentioned, and Prashanth wrote a really great article, we'll link it in the description, about how good Andrew Kopp has been. That has helped, bridge the gap between what Kasper provided last year and what he's not providing this year. But imagine you have them both going. And that's what really good teams, that's what bona fide playoff teams have going. They have guys at 3C, or if Kasper needs to be on the wing this year to be helpful, they have multiple players doing that outside of their high-end players. So finding a way to get Marco Kasper going is key. And I still look at that puzzle piece of, is it with Larkin and Raymond, or is that just holding them back in a different way?
I think the Red Wings are at a point right now, and what a time to be alive to even say this, they don't really have the luxury of experimenting. They got to go with what they think is the best lineup right now. And if that means Kasper kind of gets left in the bottom 6 because Finney's doing well on the top line and McLellan likes what he sees, well, you need those standings points, and you can't screw with it if you think this is genuinely your best lineup. Because I think that would be good for Kasper to get bumped up, get some confidence, maybe get a couple easy apples every once in a while, and start to feel it again. But
he's got to make that opportunity for himself too, right?
Exactly. Right now, I don't think anybody sees anything from Finney where you go, wow, he's playing bad. He needs to be bumped down the lineup.
He's a 7th round pick who's almost a half point per game player as a rookie playing on the top line. Like, I agree that they got to get Kasper going, but it's like if you put Kasper up on the top line, where does Finney go and how does that impact him? And why mess with something that's mostly been effective or working? So I agree. Like, that's a bit of a risky move just to try and get a guy going.
But he's not exactly producing a ton 5-on-5 though. Like, you can tell him like, hey, this is just for, we're trying to get other guys going, but you're going to be back. This isn't an indictment on you. And it's not like you're sacrificing a ton of production though.
But this still sounds like a conversation we had 3 years ago when the team sucked and it didn't matter. My whole argument is right now, today, Emmett Finney is a better hockey player than Marco Kasper. He is playing better hockey. He is more effective. Long term, I don't believe that, but today, that is true, which means today, Finney needs to be on the top line because that gives you your best chance to win. And we just spent a lot of time talking about how every point in the East is so critical right now. You can't make that change on a wing and a prayer.
And I think the other reason why they're reluctant to do it is because they could do the same thing with Danielson. Like, there's 2 guys that they could shove up there to like really ramp up. And not to say Danielson is equal to Kasper and how their seasons are going, but they seem fairly adamant that the top 6 is the top 6 and the guys in the bottom 6 have to figure it out and kickstart themselves.
It would be big. Like, I think Detroit can make it this year without Kasper going. But, if you want to guarantee, because nothing is separated at this point from the top of the bottom of the standings in the East, he would be a big help.
Maybe he's a Sam Bennett type where he's just going to chill in the regular season, then just go sicko mode in the playoffs.
I'll take that. You'd take that every time. Defense. The story is the MVP of the season so far, Moritz Seider, Simon Edvinsson, and him combining to be one of the best, if not the best, defensive pairings in the league right now. Unreal eye tests, unreal underlying numbers, just playing better and better hockey together every single game. This is exactly what we've always wanted from Mo Seider, and this is what we've always wanted from Simon Edvinsson since they drafted him with this in mind. This is the story of the season for the Red Wings.
Yeah, 100%. The dichotomy between the Red Wings defense right now is hilarious. Because like if you split up the D pairings into the letter grades, you can't give anything less than an A+ to Seider and Edvinsson. They are arguably the single best D pair in the entire NHL, which is insane. I think even in our wildest dreams, with how good we all thought Seider was and how good we all thought Edvinsson would be, we didn't see this coming. Not this year. Maybe not ever. Best pair in the league?
Yeah.
Norris candidate? Like, there's genuine, like, national level hockey insiders who are saying Edvinsson should be on Sweden's Olympic team. Like, it's insanity.
Well, I have to take Erik Karlsson, who's a corpse of himself.
And then, you look at the
Brad's knife next to him, just unsheathed.
Second pair has been fine, give him a B-, and the bottom pair has been a train wreck. You can C-, D+. Like, the dichotomy is hilarious.
Well, yeah, between the top and then the rest.
Yeah.
And like, you look at individual things, like I think Sandin-Pellikka has had a very expected season for someone of his stature and extreme rookiness. Like, he came in, unexpectedly made this team, and he's had his downs, he's had his ups. I think Ben Sherratt, has, the numbers don't love him, but I still believe he plays an important role in this team's top 4. And would you love a player to get him further down the lineup? Yeah, but everyone wants a top 4 defenseman. Like, Ryan Graves went on waivers, and at first glance, you might think that was an attractive.
Yeah, why was that a conversation?
Because
his performance with his contract, like, that's an obvious no.
Because he used to be good, is what it was.
Well, yeah, 3 years ago.
That's a Ken Holland special if I've ever heard one.
He hasn't been good in a while.
And the thing is, with Graves, 6'5", but his whole career, the frustration with him has been he plays like he's 5'8". I'm like, I just can't have another one of those on the Red Wings.
Imagine if we had one, but on defense.
And like the number, the contract, 4.5 a year, through 2028, 2029. It's
No
not even the
thanks.
number, it's the term. Like that is so much more term left for a guy who got waived by not a good team in Pittsburgh.
If he had one more year left and you brought him in just for this season to be like, yeah, maybe. Sure. Even at 4.5, sure. You have the cap space. Let's
Just
get
in case
weird.
a fresh start rejuvenates him.
Exactly. 3 years. No, God, no.
Because the offensive metrics don't exist. He is an offensive black hole. He is useless in transition.
They don't need that though.
The defending numbers were good, but the quality of competition he was playing against was quite sheltered. And so that's too much. Again, if it was a 1 year thing, sure, you take that risk to see if he goes back to his like New Jersey Devils days where I thought he was quite good. But with 3 years left to term, the Red Wings already have too many like 3 or more defensemen who are downright unplayable or near unplayable. They can't afford another one locked in for that long. So he cleared waivers, unsurprisingly. But this all goes back to the Red Wings need a top 4 defenseman. On either side, I prefer left, but at this point, beggars aren't going to be choosers, and the talent pool is only going to get thinner with expansion. Max wrote a piece, and we talked about it last episode about Justin Falk maybe being an option. But yeah, for now, Ben Sherratt, he's still playing an important role there. So him and Sandin-Pellikka have their warts, but they are also both useful in their ways. And the bottom pair, any game where they're good is a pleasant surprise.
Yeah, we've talked about the sophomore slump for Marco Kasper a lot. Albert Johansson as well. I don't think he's been quite as big an issue as Kasper in terms of the drop-off, but
he's not been a solution like he was last year.
It's been a drop-off.
Yeah.
And Bernard Docker has been okay at times.
At times, not okay.
At times, very not okay. Hamannik's been almost exclusively not okay. It's patchwork, and you just hope that Sherratt and Sandin-Pellikka get it together enough that you can up their minutes a little more to play this pair a little less.
The bottom pair's mission right now is the same as
Survive.
Evan. Yeah, it's just survive. It's Evan as a new father. It's like, just make it to the next day, man.
Yeah. You know what? I just think about the start of the season. Is this D-core better than I thought they would be? Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I thought this was going to be a mess. Like, we're injecting a rookie. We've got like 3 defensemen under the age of like 24 playing key minutes.
We can't even say expectations. We didn't expect Sandin-Pellikka. We were going in thinking Justin Hall or Eric Gustafsson was getting a regular shift here.
Exactly. Like, this was absolutely the biggest question mark on this team, and the fact that Edvinsson, Seider have become something beyond, I think, everybody's wildest dreams. Insane. Sandin-Pellikka is almost playing 18 minutes a night as a rookie, an undersized defenseman. Like,
an undersized rookie with no AHL experience. Like, just right into the fire.
Right into the fire. Like, that is the Red Wings special with some of these defensemen. And then, Ben Sherratt, by and large, the counting stats aren't great, but I actually think this is his best season as a Detroit Red Wing. Like, he has kind of assumed the dad role on the defensive core. He finds the youngest player on the other team and decides to beat them up all game, which I absolutely love. He's, kind of the enforce is not the right word, but he, keeps people in check a little bit more than he has previously with the Wings. Like, he's playing 21 minutes a night, and then the bottom pair is what it is. Like, you find any useful top 4 defenseman in the West out of the teams that are going to be selling to try and draft Gavin McKenna if he presumes to be the first overall pick. I think that solves a lot of problems for Detroit. But from game 1 to game 41 right now, like, I think the D-core has exceeded expectations.
So, I mean, first off, that's erasure of Sandin-Pellikka's 2 AHL games that he played and 1 assist there. So, storied career with the Griffins.
Yeah.
But yeah, you can't have asked for more. If you could say that for the offense, you especially can say that for the defense. And then goaltending, that's been a roller coaster. Right now, vibes are good. Recency bias, you're like, okay, Gibson settled in. It's not just that the team is playing better in front of him. I think he's also playing a more comfortable game. Talbot's put together a couple more good games here, so that's inspired some confidence. The numbers, by and large, for the season still aren't good, but Gibson was, a .925 save percentage in December?
Yeah, he was horrific in October and November. Like, awful. And unbelievable. They could not be more different. Cam Talbot all season feels like he's been consistently slightly below average. Like, he hasn't been, outside of that one game against Toronto, he's never had any elite stretches, but he also hasn't had a whole lot of games where you're like, well, you cost us that game. Gibson definitely had a few of those, but Talbot never had a stretch like Gibson's December where he's arguably one of the best goalies in the league for a month.
Yeah. And I mean, both of them still sitting under a 900 save percentage. Gibson at an 893, Talbot at an 889, but no, they've both
two very different ways to get to those numbers.
I don't close my eyes as much as I was earlier in the season.
Yes.
After December, I'm have a little bit more confidence in the goaltending, whereas maybe a month or so ago I was like, please God, just hang in there. It's not great, but I think it's passable at this current moment.
Yeah, this moment it's good. Those Jets and Leafs games are losses if they happened in November with how the goalies were playing then.
I would agree.
Any one goal game would be.
Yeah. But this is the trapdoor for any team in the NHL. If this season you want to win and make the playoffs, your goaltending can't be anything less than barely below average. If these two goalies go back to November, then this team is going to have issues. But if they can just, even if they regress from where they are, which Gibson's not going to be playing at a 925 every month the rest of the year. And if he does, I'm going to take the biggest victory lap of my entire life. I won't
wrong. Stop you. I'll take 2 victory laps.
Out that window so fast.
Sure.
Out in a blaze of glory. But like, even if he regresses a little bit, that still will give Detroit more than enough margin to work with how they've been playing. So, overall, the midseason check-in is, you're saying that the expectation this season is playoffs, but in previous years, that was, we're exhausted. It's been a decade. Like, this team needs to make a move at some point. And this year, it's, no, they're playing well enough, and this looks like a playoff hockey team with how the league is balanced right now. And that's my full on is, if they don't make the playoffs, I'll understand how it happened with how tight things are, but it will be a disappointment and a failure. Like, playoffs are the expectation. Positive, like in parentheses, compliment with how the Red Wings have been playing.
There should be no other expectation. Standings being as tight as they are, who cares? You're exactly halfway through the season in your first place in the division.
Yeah.
There can be no other expectation.
Tied for first in the conference. Like, you need to make it. Everyone's tight. Like, the last in the division is 7 points back, maybe 4 points back, or whatever it is. I get that. But you're still in the lead.
Well, you know who else is facing the pressure of the Eastern Conference being so tight? Every other team in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
So it
You have
begs
no
the
excuse.
question. I know this is a little bit early, given how tight the standings are and, the pressure to make the playoffs. If the right situation comes up, do the Red Wings buy at the trade deadline?
I think they should be adding a defenseman if they can.
Cost dependent. Like,
Obviously, if it's like, if it's a great deal, the Red Wings should make the move.
Yeah,
but I'm saying, should they be actively pursuing buying?
Yeah.
yes, but that's the best way I can phrase it.
Not like a Rasmus Anderson. You have no guarantee he's going to sign. You're going to pay like insane futures. But
What I will say is, you are not paying a first round pick or equivalent value for anybody with a year and a half or less on their term, because again, you're not selling the future for short-term gains. Any contract longer than that, nothing is sacred to me. Go out there, add, buy, get yourself some players.
I take a 1.5-year deal for the right guy. If you talk to them and you're like, you can win him over, and as long as you show you're a good team,
Sure, but he's also got to be a player.
top four.
That ain't Justin Falk. Like that, we're not talking that type of level of player for a first round.
No,
pick.
if he's going for a first, yeah.
That's a no for me. Colton Parayko, if we're talking defenseman, St. Louis, okay, I'll hear that argument. Of course I'd hear that argument. If you want to go out and get a Jordan Kyrou or a Parayko or a whatever really, truly great player comes available, yeah, nothing is sacred. Pay what you got to pay. You know what I mean?
very much I'm on the same level as you guys, but I think I'm slightly more in the, like, be a little more aggressive, because, if you want to separate from the other teams in your division, getting a player in that adds standing points will do that, and figuring out the future be damned. Like, I think the Red Wings are a very attractive team to join now. I would not have said that at the start of the season.
This is a podcast pessimist talking.
They've got a young team that have a lot of players coming the right way. Moritz Seider is now like national news level player. They've still have Patrick Kane, who is going to draw players to the team. And they've got Sebastian Cossa, Trey Augustine coming. Like, this is going to be a really good team. They have a fantastic facility. Like, there's nothing but up for this team. So I think they can convince guys who've got a year, 2 years left on their deals to stay there.
Now, here's what I don't want people to hear, because I didn't say this. I'm not saying rentals are off the table. I'm just saying not first round pick value.
If they're rentals, okay. I was going to say, if they're rentals, like, they better be really damn good players.
With how stocked the Red Wings prospect pool is and how young the team is, right now, I understand their objective market value, but in terms of accumulating value for future second, third, fourth, fifth round picks mean almost shit to me anymore. Like, who cares? I will pay a second round pick if it increases our chances of getting in the playoffs by 10% this year.
I think I'm
nothing is sacred. It's just a matter of value, because I'm not giving a first round pick to get waxed in the first round of the playoffs.
I feel like I'll take a top 4 defenseman. Oh yeah. Wouldn't we all? And then like a bona fide like star level forward. Like, I don't think the Red Wings need to inject a bottom 6 forward. Like, maybe that slots somebody else down. Like, let's say you go and get a top line left winger. Well, that lets Finney drop down to the third line. Now your third line is awesome. Like, I think you're either fixing the bottom pair defenseman to like just make that a little bit easier on the eyes, or you're bringing in a high quality forward.
Again, it's all value dependent. Like, I don't know his contract situation. I'm just thinking of like attractive players that could be 1 year rentals on bad teams. Like, if Ryan Lomberg had 1 year left on his deal in Calgary and the Wings are like, yeah, we'll give you a third round pick for him, I say do it. Like, if you think he's an upgrade on what you have in the bottom 6 right now, do it. Again, I don't know his contract or whatever, but I'm just saying a player like that on a rental for an early to mid round pick, sure, I'm all on board. If you think it increases your odds of making the playoffs this year, do it. Just don't give up a first round pick for that type of contract.
Here's the thing. I'm not like only make the trade if it's good value for you. It's the trade deadline. It's sparse. Teams aren't going to be selling because the whole conference is in the playoff.
No, there's no sellers. There will not be good value.
You will have to overpay. This isn't Black Friday. It's the opposite. But just make sure that it's actually worthwhile for your team. Don't do it just to do it, which is stating the obvious. I know Max, in his article, we talked about Justin Falk. He also pointed out guys like Brett Kulak, who I know hasn't had a good year, but I've seen him have very good.
He's better than Albert Johansson right now, I'll tell you that.
Connor Murphy, he mentioned Dougie Hamilton as a bigger ticket, Colton Parayko, like you said, Brad. Like, there's guys out there, and those are very big ranges of how much you'd have to spend. I'm not even allergic to first round picks. I more want to deal with the prospects that you have before they lose their value because they haven't realized a material roster spot in the NHL, so teams aren't going to assign them as much value as you could get for them. And you got to clear the logjam a little bit. Like, you're graduating a lot of these guys, but a lot of them won't make the Red Wings. But yeah, I'm all for being way more aggressive this year than in previous years. It takes 2 to tango, but you don't need much more to just get in this year. This team can get in as they are. If they don't make a trade, I still believe the Red Wings can make the playoffs. But if you can get that separation, as Evan was saying, and the sooner you get it, the better, build yourself some margin rather than waiting until the deadline, then that's awesome.
This sounds like an Elias Pettersson conversation. There's any team that just likes to get stuff done, it's Vancouver.
Which one?
Yeah.
No, dealer's choice.
Oh, okay.
This is where the monkey paw curls. I brought this conversation up, and this is how
I'm going to play this clip when they trade for expensive Pettersson.
Yeah.
Which
you're
one?
You're welcome. You're welcome, or I'm sorry.
That should be the title of the entire podcast. But yeah, the fact that we're talking about the Red Wings should add because they are right now a playoff caliber team, and let's solidify that. Like, that's probably the best midseason review we've had in 10 plus years of doing this show.
Also, I know a lot of people are probably yelling this at their speakers right now. I am in agreement with Ryan that the Red Wings should be prioritizing getting a defenseman this deadline. We talked about what a train wreck that bottom pair is. It would be nice to upgrade there. Yes, I am aware of Steve Yzerman's biggest weakness as GM is his inability to identify good bottom four defensemen. So that does throw a bit of a...
No, he had Mata and Wellman and...
I know that warning flag is if you give up a second round pick for another Travis Hamonic equivalent. That's a very real concern with me. Don't get me wrong, but I'm still in the camp of can't be much worse than what the 5-6 guys have provided this year. So screw it.
All right. Little mid-season review for you there. And let's jump over to some NHL and World of Hockey news. Let's start with the Olympic rosters, and Team Canada officially announced theirs. Team USA is going to announce theirs on a Friday morning broadcast, but theirs has been largely reported already. There's been a lot of really great reporting from Emily Kaplan and others. The projected roster for Team USA, we'll start there, is Matthews, Eichel, both Kachucks, Boldy, Connor, Gensel, Hughes, Keller, Larkin, Jack Hughes, Keller, Larkin, JT Miller, Brock Nelson, Tage Thompson, Vincent Trocheck, and not bringing Kreider, who's at Four Nations. Keller and Thompson are additions, but the omissions there would be Kreider, Jason Robertson, who is projected to be left at home right now, Cole Caulfield, Kanan DeBrincat, two Red Wings, Alex Tuck, Matthew Nyes, Logan Cooley, among other players. If that's how it shakes out for Team USA,
there were some questionable decisions with the Canadian roster that had a lot of people freaked out up here, and then that got reported, and it made a lot of Canadians feel easier about it. Because I don't think that's terrible. I'm not going to sit here and absolutely crucify Guerin for his roster, because I know people will say, look at all these skill guys, but there genuinely is something to you need some size, some guys who can be good on a PK. I don't mind a fourth line of, your Brock Nelson types of guys, can do it and are not bad hockey players. They can still provide some offense. They're not. The two, though, that I can't excuse are JT Miller and Vincent Trocheck. I like Trocheck as a player, but man, you are leaving off Jason Robertson.
This is just on forward, by the way. There's a defense conversation as well.
You're leaving off Jason Robertson and putting those two on the team. I'm sorry. That's not justifiable. Even Caulfield and DeBrincat, I don't like them being off the team, but I understand you're going to go play a big physical game against Canada, especially. Maybe the undersized guys might struggle a bit. And yes, they're great scorers, but in that environment, are they going to struggle? I can hear that argument. I don't fully believe it, especially with DeBrincat, because he's one of the more aggressive players on the Red Wings. But I get it. Jason Robertson has he's one of the leading scorers in the entire NHL this year.
Top 10.
His defensive metrics are really good.
He's big too.
And he's not a small guy.
Skates like you, but...
Yeah. JT Miller, we've all seen that one meme clip of him just not back-checking.
That immediately cuts.
We know what type of a locker room cancer he is. And I just don't think he's having that good of a year even beyond that one clip. Trocheck, I understand.
22 points in 35 games isn't good?
Not for
those are the
USA
two.
lock.
Every other decision the USA made, I can at least justify. Even if I don't agree with it, I understand it. Those are the two that I can't wrap my head around.
And then on defense, Quinn Hughes, Charlie McAvoy, Brock Faber, Noah Hannafin, Jake Sanderson, Jacob Slavin, Zach Werenski, Seth Jones, leaving off Adam Fox, Lane Hudson, John Carlson, etc. And Adam Fox especially, there's a big divide on the opinion of Adam Fox. And I know he got burned heavy at Four Nations and, missing coverage, especially on the golden goal there. But
that was more Matthews coverage that was blown than him, but I digress.
And then you look at, Chris Drury, his GM, his head coach, Mike Sullivan, the assistant, David Quinn, they're all involved in that team. And Fox didn't make it. That is
I remember what happened with 2014 in Tampa Bay. Steve Yzerman left Martin St. Louis off to the point where
And where did Marty St. Louis go? The New York Rangers.
But it got so bad, it led to a trade. So anyways,
Adam Fox is going to Tampa? Is that what I just heard?
Please no.
No.
Please no. Don't put that evil on us.
Hopefully Detroit.
We'll take
You said you want to trade for a top four defenseman. Sure, I would prefer a lefty,
I'm
but
more
if we
interested in
gotta
Olympians,
settle for
sorry.
Adam Fox,
Can't even play for his nation. Not interested.
Yeah.
That one's bad because when you look at the advanced stats, you're like, oh, Adam Fox doesn't play defense. He's a power play merchant. That's very incorrect. He's actually better at defending than Seth Jones is.
I'm not. And that's on this version of the New York Rangers
Who are
versus
doing a
Seth
lot
Jones
of defending.
on
He's got a
those
lot of
Florida Panthers.
big sample size.
My bias, I've never thought Seth Jones was worth his contract, and so I've always kind of thought less of him than he probably actually is able to play as a player. And I know he got better when he went to Florida, but
Everybody gets better when they go to Florida.
I think I could put up 10 points in Florida. Like, everyone's great in Florida.
No, like I'm with you. I don't tolerate a whole lot of Seth Jones slander because I think he's actually really, really good. And I think in a bubble, he's absolutely good enough to be on this Olympic team. He absolutely is. He's just not better than Adam Fox. That's all that comes down to for me. I don't think he's going to look out of place on this team. I don't think he's going to be a black hole. I think he's going to be, if he plays, good. He's just not better than Adam Fox, and I don't think it's particularly close.
It's going to be interesting to see, like, if those guys that everyone's looking at, like the JT Millers, Trocheks, the Seth Jones, who's not having like bad seasons like them, but like the questionable picks, if they have bad tournaments and it doesn't go well, then
realistically, they're probably not going to play because there's 14 forwards, 8 defensemen. There are guys who are not going to dress, but like,
and they have
still injuries happen. So if they do get thrust into action, now you're going to start really questioning the decisions.
Hellebuyck, Ottinger, Swayman to lean on as well. It's not bad. Team Canada announced their roster, and not a lot of surprises, but I think one big one for people. Anyone who was surprised by Macklin celebrating at this point, like the
Nobody's
season he's
surprised
having,
by that.
Yeah.
Anybody saying that's just trying to rage bait. Nobody's surprised by that.
So it's celebrating McDavid, Marner, Crosby, McKinnon, Reinhart, Hagel, Point, Stone, Marchand, Suzuki, Wilson, and then they took both of Horvat and Cirelli, which a lot of people thought it was going to be just one of them. And we'll talk about the snubs in a second. And then on defense, they have Taves, Makar, Morrissey, Parayko, Harley, Drew Doughty, Shea Theodore, Travis Sanheim. So that's the Four Nations crew there. And then in net, they have Binnington returning, and they took Logan Thompson and Darcy Kemper. Blackwood is probably the only Canadian goalie snubbed there, but Binnington was always going to get the roster spot after what he did at Four Nations. But the conversations about Connor Bedard for a lot of people, or Wyatt Johnston or Mark Scheifele, all very deserving. But the fact that they left Sam Bennett off, I was pretty surprised by.
That was surprising. Again, a little bit of the same issue that the States had picking their forwards, although to a lesser extreme, I would say. I don't mind leaving Sam Bennett off with the season he's having. I get it. He was great at Four Nations. He was a Conn Smythe winner. I would have been perfectly okay with him being on the team. The part I love about this is John Cooper being so deep in that Florida-Tampa rivalry where he's like, I'm leaving him off and bringing my guy.
Bennett is killing 5 Lightning players the next time they play.
I love it from an entertainment standpoint. I love it. The only real gripe I have with this forward group is I would have taken at least one of Bedard or Scheifele, like elite scores this year. And I do worry about the depth scoring. I think they went a little too heavy on a type in the bottom 6. Not that they're bad players, but I would have wanted, for me personally, it would have been Bedard. But I would have wanted at least one more high-end scorer on there. But beyond that, I don't think anything here was super surprising other than of those bottom 6 quote-unquote types, it was Sam Bennett who was the one left off.
And then I think Schaefer would be an injury replacement. Bouchard, like if
I'm not taking Bouchard.
If Makar goes down, they'll bring Bouchard. I guarantee it.
Yeah. I don't know. Chikrin, I thought, was making a hell of a case.
He was.
And like, again, I get it. You took the same group that won you Four Nations. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Fine.
That was a calendar year ago. Like, there's a lot of things you lose. Like,
and that's why they didn't bring
guys
Bennett.
are a year older. Guys are, dealing with injuries, no injuries. Like, but did anyone think Macklin Celebrini realistically had a big chance to make Team Canada 1 year ago? Probably not. Like, he was definitely achieving more than what people thought. And then this year he's just blown the doors off. But like, this is, I said this to you guys, this is the problem being elite hockey nations is you have too many options.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's just some simple decisions and they just get stuck inside like an archetype of team they have to build. Like to me, Mark Scheifele's a no-brainer. Like, he's top 12, top 15 in scoring on the worst team in the league. That's a no-brainer. You tell that guy to check, he will do that for you. Like, I could understand why you'd want Connor Bedard as well. Like, he's part of the solution going forward. It's unfortunate he's hurt. So maybe that's what really held him out, even though they said, like, injury be damned.
They said that wasn't a factor, but you say that to make sure you don't diminish the accomplishment of the guys who make it. Like, they were never going to say anything else.
Exactly. And then, you know, as much as I love Drew Doughty, the person and the career he's put forth and the winning that he's done, you got to look to the future as well. Like, I think Matthew Schaefer should be going day one to Italy. You got to future-proof a little bit. Like, I think Chychrun, if you're not going to bring a younger guy, I think Chychrun deserves it more than Drew Doughty as well. Like,
well, Sanheim's not having a great year. Harley's not having a great year. Doughty's not having a great year. I bring Chychrun or Schaefer over any of those three. But with everything Drew Doughty's done for Hockey Canada and the leadership he's brought, like, he was always going to be on that team.
I think with Harley, like, there was like injury recovery there, and he's been better of late, and I think they've seen that, which is what cemented it. And they liked what he did for the team. Like, that was a funny situation with Four Nations and coming in. And like, whether people agree with it or not, and Team USA is the same way, Sweden's the same way, like all these nations are the same way. If you go out of your way to work for your international rosters in other tournaments or in other situations, they reward you. They have a
World Championship is like the most important event to play in now if you aren't going to be in the playoffs.
100%, yeah. And they're like, the Swedes and the Finns and the Slovaks and the Czechs are all like, we told you, like, this tournament matters. But because the Olympics weren't there for so long, the Canadians and the Americans, they were like, some of them. That's why Larkin, like, my hot take, very biased, but I don't care. I'm not even going to try to make it objective. I think Larkin should be captain of Team USA, not Auston Matthews. That guy carried the heart and soul of that team in the Four Nations, and he was doing so much advocacy to get guys to go out and play World Championships. But it's going to be interesting to see how these teams shake out. As Evan was alluding to, you can really get in the trap of overthinking it because you have an embarrassment of riches. So we'll see which team and what direction they took is going to, you know, work out. And then there's always injuries between now and then, you know, mid-February. Guys can stay in the testing protocol to stay eligible. So I'm sure like the Schaefers and the Scheifele's and all them, they're going to stay in the Olympic testing protocols to make sure that if there's an injury, they can be called up. Bouchard as well, Chychrun. I thought it was interesting that Mackenzie Blackwood was like, I had no conversations about testing protocol or anything.
Insanity.
Like, I get that it's, you know, Bennington, Thompson, Kemper, and that makes a lot of sense, all things considered. But by the numbers, Blackwood is right up there and way better than Bennington, who's statistically one of the worst goalies in the league this year.
It's not even the starter on his team.
No. They're going to give him one round robin game, and if he chokes it, that's the net, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, why would you not keep a fourth guy in the mix? Like
Wedgwood's in the protocol.
Oh, yeah, that's a good point. Anyways, curious to see how that shakes out. We'll see what happens with Team Sweden as well, in case, you know, the Red Wings have another addition going there beyond what's expected. But I mean, the Red Wings angle to all of this is that there's a lot of Red Wings involvement anticipated. And very quickly, a World Juniors update here. Eddie Genborg, other than having a massive discourse on how to actually pronounce his name, 2 goals, 3 assists, big hits, absolute bulldog. That guy's already blowing out expectations from what we thought he was when they drafted him.
This guy's a dude. Get him in Grand Rapids next year. Get him on the small light. Like, he's going to be on the fast track to Detroit. I'm genuinely starting to think that. Can't skate very well at all. But God, he is so good at everything else. Like, we have thrown this comparison around way too much over the last 15 years. But I mean this when I say, this is genuinely the first dude the Red Wings have had in 15 years where I'm going, this might actually be Thomas Holmstrom. That, not a great skater, crazy high competitive, crazy high hockey IQ, and more than enough skill to do what he needs to do with the puck on his stick. He has made some plays. He gets the dirty goals. He has thrown some big hits. Finish this year out in the SHL, get a year in Grand Rapids, and get him on Detroit the year after that. This guy is a dude.
And then Max Plant, a goal in 3 games, unfortunately hurt. It doesn't look like he's going to be back for the quarters against Finland. So not great news there, but hopefully that's a short-lived thing. Carter Bear was a fringe player, late ad, played a couple games, so he's continued to go.
He wasn't on any roster projections. He made the team. He was penciled in as the extra forward who was going to get health bombed every game, which that's how it started. But he's played the last 2 games, so not playing a lot, but he's at least worked his way up the lineup. So he's not doing anything to piss off the coaches, which is a good sign.
And with Slovakia, Sverchek with a goal and an assist, and then Pradl in net, 1-3 with an .894 save percentage, 3.46 goals against average. That team is obviously getting shelled. So
Slovakian 894 is a Canada 925.
I feel like you can say the same thing for Canada. Canada can't defend or make a save. They just score like crazy.
What a turnaround from last year, huh?
Yeah. So Sweden versus Latvia, Czechia versus Switzerland, USA versus Finland, and Canada versus Slovakia in the quarterfinals, and we'll see what happens there. Okay, we're going to take another quick break, and when we're back, the final segment of this episode of the Winged Wheel Podcast back after this.
We're going to overtime.
Overtime is brought to you by our Patreon supporters, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. If you want to support the show, you get access to benefits like our bonus overtime episodes where we let loose, we have fun, we read out all the questions that didn't make the main show, and you also get bloopers, outtakes, thoughts with Evan, non-hockey topics. It's a good time. You also get access to our Patreon exclusive Discord, and you're automatically entered into all of our giveaways with an opportunity to enter into a giveaway for 2 tickets to every Detroit Red Wings home game, all of them going directly to our Patreon supporters. All of that and lots more. So again, patreon.com/wingedwheelpodcast. And again, don't forget about Winged Wheel Podcast Night with the Grand Rapids Griffins, January 17th. Griffinshockey.com/WWP or link in the description. Let's take some questions from our patrons. Mo Blank Seider says, congrats, you've been gifted a KHL team. Money's tight though, so you need 3 sponsors to go on your jersey. You can pick any 3 brands you want. Who do you have?
That's really putting us on the spot.
Kirkland, big Costco guy.
Hell yeah.
Which team are we getting?
Magnitogorsk.
Oh, that's
Evan's favorite.
Asia Tourism Group.
Yeah.
Because it's the gateway.
Kirkland. Yes, the gateway between Europe and Asia. So the tourism groups, Kirkland and Coffee Cult. Congrats, you've been upgraded to a...
I can only think of Patreon exclusive companies right now.
That's a nice way of saying.
So with a orange and black white logo there.
Oh, maybe.
I wish I had the drum and guitar riff there. I would have pressed the button. Rasmus and Petrie on a 2-0 breakaway says, temperature check on Danielson. How do you think he's doing?
Fine. Doesn't look like a fish out of water, but again, we've used the term a lot this year. It still looks like he's riding the brake.
He's figuring things out, and you never know if he's actually figuring it out until the figuring out happens. But yeah, he's trying to go out there and not be a liability. Some shifts you like him better than others. Some of them you see the rookie mistakes, but he's a rookie on this team. And I think to have the expectations that he was going to come in and do what Casper did last year, it's never going to work out that way every time. The fact that he's surviving on the roster for me is enough. And he's not in a top 6 role, so you can have him in those sheltered positions and understand that this is about the long term rather than the short term. So nothing crazy notable, but nothing like out of this world bad. Red 3 says, noticing there are a lot of records being tied and stats synonymous with contender versions of the Wings team have passed. We talked about this being the best December since 07. Well, that was 07-08, and I mean, we know what happened. They go on to say, does that mean we could see a deeper playoff run? I don't want to count chickens before they hatch, but we've been lingering in the standings at the top and looking pretty sustainable. Are we having another 2023-2024 overperformance, or have we actually found success?
I mean, the Red Wings playoff odds, according to Dom's model, which notoriously hates the Wings, but it's still only like 52%. Like, I'm very much not counting the chickens before they hatch.
And his model takes in past years as well, which is why it's never going to favor the Wings until they actually do the thing. But it's double-edged sword, right? Like, I do think their success that they've had this year feels more sustainable than their 2 different 7-game win streaks from last year. But the league is also so much tighter that it's kind of a wash.
Yeah.
So are their playoff odds better? With how they are playing, yes. With how 15 other teams are playing in the East, I think it's about even compared to what it was last year. Maybe a bit better this year, but I don't know that I'm counting a deep playoff run, but I am thinking that they are a sustainably better version of the team. Next one here from Detroit Hockey Fan 14 says, somewhat lost for me in the hype of the rookie call-ups is that Simon Edvinsson is only in his second full year. How much higher is his ceiling? His contract will likely be the biggest one on the team when he's extended. Agree or disagree? There's a world where you can get him at Seider's number. It's going to be a tougher sell than it would have been 2 years ago.
Based on the market and the way everything's increased, he should be the highest paid player on the Red Wings just because the value he provides relative to percent of cap and all that fun math probably tells you he's a $9+ million defenseman. You can always juggle with terms. So maybe if he only goes 6 years or something like that, they match Seider's numbers. So I'm not saying it's for sure going to happen, but it should, because I would give him 8 years.
They're going to point to Lane Hutson's 8.85 and they'll be like, Lane Hutson is nearly a point per game player as a defenseman on a very similar team to ours, similar goal differential and everything. You're not making more than Lane Hutson because you're not producing like him.
And then Simon's agent's going to show them one video of Lane Hutson in the D zone and that argument's out the window.
But that's how you keep him in that range of those other guys who signed in that range, like 8.5 to like low 9s or something. It could come in under or at Seider's number, but it also, I want it to be long-term though. Like I as much term as possible. Next one here, Ben Sherratt, billiards enthusiast, says, Happy New Year, lads. The Red Wings enter the new year at the top of their division for the first time since the 2010-11 season. With this said, which would you rather? The Red Wings make the playoffs in the 1 seed in the division but get swept in the first round by their wildcard matchup, or the Red Wings lose out the rest of the season but are guaranteed the first overall pick in this next draft?
I'll take the second one.
I'll take Gavin McKenna. Thank you.
Yeah, if you're guaranteeing that, I absolutely take that every single time. It would hurt. It would suck in the podcast. Oh boy, would that be some interesting, creative.
Yeah, but you had Gavin McKenna. Even if they get weird and take Keaton Verhoff or Ivar, I don't care. Any of the top 4, I'm fairly confident those 1 seeds are going to be coming in the next few years, so I can go this year without it.
Seider, I barely know her, says, do you guys think that McLellan's game plan for the third after the goal was full on defensive? The team really struggled to do anything but dump the puck, so I'm wondering if that was a coach's call or if the team just went into turtle mode independently from Todd's coaching. I think when you see it to that degree, no coach is ever going to say, give the other team the puck and then sit back that much.
Yeah, you know what we don't want to do here is score a goal.
Yeah.
No coach is saying that. Probably just coaches in that say will be like, hey, now is not the time to take risks.
Don't get cute,
but then
fancy.
Sometimes the teams take it a little too literally.
And I mean, the less talent you have on the team, the more guys who are going to take that as like a bigger break to ride. It's like nothing fancy, don't get cute. Well, I mean, if you have prime Pavel Datsyuk, he knows what lanes he has to enter the zone and he'll do them. But when you have guys in the middle 6 or bottom 6, their zone entries are all going to look like dump ins, and then they're going to want to not get caught too deep. And it's a tough line to walk for teams and players. All right, we're going to wrap up this first episode of 2026. Thank you also very much for tuning in for another year. If this is your first time, welcome to the show. Probably the highest vibes there have ever been at the Red Wings, so great time to join. Thank you to all of our listeners, to all of our sponsors, our name level supporters on Patreon, and to all of you who have bought tickets and are going to come see us at Winged Wheel Podcast Night at the Grand Rapids Griffins, Saturday, January 17th. GriffinsHockey.com/WWP, the pregame live show, the game, the limited edition signed puck, all of that and lots more. To our Patreon supporters, we cannot do this show without you. And if you want to help us out, but Patreon's not for you, you can support us by, wherever you're getting this podcast, subscribing, YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, liking the podcast, leave a rating, a review, the thumbs up, a heart, tell a friend about the show. All of those really do help us out quite genuinely. And to our name level supporters on Patreon, this whole show could not happen without you. Arjun Shankar, Aikfer, THL Champ, Samuel Soderholm, Glenn Brabham, Rain Dano, Below Average Ball Hockey Goalie, Matthew M. Rice, Sea Lion, Darb EQ, Detroit Style, Deep Dish, Insider, very clever, Bingo Bango, Hassan Al-Qassem, Asher Killian, Kaylin Wood, Alex Toger, That's What I Appreciate About You, Derek Enstam, Matt McKay, Andy Hardcore, Sam Bankston, Citizen High Five, R.A., Aaron Hudson, Admiral Matt S. of the Cheesebag Navy, The El Cato, Stephen Ortlieb, Jonathan Miller, Give Blood Fight Probert, DJ Denton, Carl Brutanen Analuski, Jay Gollum, John Ingalls, CB55, Connor Scovey, Adam Zuiza, Adam Rose, I Miss Pew Suter, Steve R, Hockeytown Matt, Mr. Kuzi, Chaotic Monkey, Craig Kibble, Iserplan Stan, Clip Clop Nene, Podgy 713. Now I have to learn how to click on a Macintosh, Unapologetic, Gibson Truther, Griffin Not from Grand Rapids, Marty, Causey the OG13, Jeff Pridemore, Eric Hill, Butts Carlton, Best James Bond, Beer League Legend, Alec, Mark Hernandez, Slim Smitty Cards, Grand Rapids Girly, Anna Sleeman, William, Mike Asher, August, Brian Munn, Improved But Flawed, Chris 99 Jones, Putting on the Moritz, Trevor Centerfit, Adams, Red Wings Takes, Adam Ernie Slander, General Andy Bohan of the Cheesebag Army, Quaz, Dylan Larkin Trade Sacrifice, 2026 is the year of the Moose, Matt Keeler, Linda Hull, Connor Leighton, Oz, Good, Better, Best, Jeremiah Dobo, Josh Yelton, Brad Simmons, Darren Fick, Bex, The Hodag, Daddy Pastor Jake, The Kneeling for Prayer and Other Devotional Activities. Commander Ben Barron, The Cheeseback Space Force, Sandin-Pellikka's Pet Pelican, Griffey Boy, JM Rhapsody, Frank Stanley, Rosie Posey, That Other Guy, Pucking Puck, Carl Thames, Nerno, The Hat 123, Stephen A. Aaron, Corey Prida, All Motor No Hands, Gene Sullivan, Gert Frobe, James Pridemore, Drop the Puck, Eric Nance, Ann Stanislavski, Jim, Bellingham Acid Balls, Wings Fan in St. Louis Scott, Lucas Raymond, Cops Gump Lip, Trent Thorough, Grepsky, Evan Beckner, Return of Jambo, C.E. Hayes, Finney to the Rafters, Jacob Marsh, Falkness, Fight Night at the Joe, Axel Sandy Pelican, The Octopi's Ninth Leg, Finney the Pooh, and your second favorite patron. Thank you all so very much. We will talk to you Sunday.
Thanks for tuning in to the Winged Wheel Podcast. Be sure to visit wingedwheelpodcast.com, where you'll find links to subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts. You'll also find ways to support the show, like Patreon, official podcast merchandise, and more. And don't forget to follow us on X at WingedWheelPod, at Ryan Hanna, WWP, at Brad Crisco, and at Hockeytown Evan, as well as Winged Wheel Podcast on Instagram.